are my personal opinions on safety devices on current cars.
Well, first of all, seat belts. Some people hate them. I love them. I think they're the best safety device ever made for a car, especially if it's got the shoulder strap. Yes, it's true, in about 2% of accidents, wearing your seat belt actually can cause you to die for whatever reason. But in most cases, they'll save your life.
So please wear them. I recommend that.
Next one, I don't know what you call it, a safety device or what you call it, but I hate power door locks that automatically lock when you start driving. When you put your car in park and want to get out, they're still locked. What if you did have an accident or some situation where you were a little bit incapacitated, your car was on fire, it was sinking into water or something like that happened, and you couldn't or weren't aware enough to get them open yourself? You were still dazed or unconscious. Well, it's a good possibility someone could be coming along and try to rescue you. How can he rescue you if you can't get into the car and there's no way for him to break the window? So I don't like those things. The next thing I don't like is anti-lock brakes, and that's only because I consider myself sort of an expert driver.
Anti-lock brakes are best for old people, women, and young drivers, but any normal guy who's an experienced driver can actually do a better and more controlled stop and keep the car under control without the stupid pedal going da-da-da-da-da-da, and you're wondering what's happening. And I like to skid, and I like to do stuff like that. I'm not in for anti-lock brakes, but they are safer in circumstances where, of course, like I just said, you're not an expert.
They're also quite problematic. Of course, you've got 4 sensors, one for each wheel, and the sensor wires can break, especially in the front wheels, because the wheels are turning or the suspension's going up and down. Also, corrosion gets in the connectors, and sometimes the sensors themselves go bad, and every time they go bad, your brake light comes on. You don't know whether you've got low brake fluid, something's wrong with your braking system, or it's just one of those dumb sensors.
Never get too worried if your ABS system doesn't work. When it doesn't work, your brakes just function completely normally, like there is no ABS. So having that ABS light on isn't a reason to panic. Another common reason it can come on is just because of low brake fluid, or the handbrake is down a little bit or up a little bit. Certainly when your pressure control valve goes bad on your ABS system, then it can be very expensive to fix, and along with that goes a control computer. Another one I mostly like is airbags. Modern cars come with at least 2 of them. Airbags are for dummies who forget to put their seat belts on. At least you'll have almost the same crash protection if you don't have your seat belt on if your airbag goes off properly.
Now, if I devised an airbag system, it would have a seat belt sensor for each seat in the front, which means if it sensed that someone was sitting in the seat, there's weight, the seat belt is on, then it wouldn't set the airbags off in lower speed collisions like they often go off, because that hurts your face, gives you black eyes sometimes, breaks your nose, who knows what. If the seatbelt is on, I would have the seatbelts go off at a much higher rate of, set for a much higher rate of speed, so they're not interfering and injuring you when they shouldn't even went off in the first place, because you were already well protected. I have nothing against the side impact seatbelts that might be in your door, might be in your window body post. Those ones aren't going to hurt you or kill you, and a lot of impacts are side impact, and it sure stops the pillar from cracking your cranium, that's for sure. Another modern safety system is that you have to put your brake pedal on, and the car has to sense brake pressure before you can engage or move your shifter for your automatic transmission. I find that a nuisance, but I guess for forgetful people and stuff who like to drive through storefronts or back up and run into somebody because they're not paying attention, it's a good idea. Or when you leave the car unattended with children in it and the engine's running, at least their feet might not reach the pedals, or they might not be aware enough to know of that, so they can't move the shifter and have the car take off with them in it all alone. I think that rear view mirrors that can dim when there's headlights behind you is also an awesome idea. Too bad they don't have that for side view mirrors. I think unibody cars like this one are a much better idea than the full frame things like old cars used to have or trucks still use. The whole body, including the bumper system, is a crumple zone. And that very gently disperses the energy in an accident, instead of making your vehicle very rigid like a full frame vehicle, where the vehicle stops very quickly. There's maybe less body damage, but you're still traveling the same speed the vehicle was before it stopped, and you have the possibility of injury. Most of the time insurance pays for your vehicle anyways, so who cares if it's not repairable, so long as you feel good.
Safety system that I really hate is traction control. Well, it's good and it's bad, but if you don't have a switch that can turn it off, I hate it. I would rather not have it at all. Sure, traction control's good for if you're not an experienced driver when you get on black ice or snowy situations or whatever, so you're not spinning your tires excessively and losing control, because when your wheels are spinning or they're skidding because the brakes are on, believe me, you can't steer the vehicle.
But what fun is it if you can't do a burnout and you can't like drive your vehicle in at least a spunky way? I also think that rear shoulder seat belts are a great idea too. And modern vehicles also have an easy to release little trunk latch pull thing from inside that you can do by hand in case for some reason you get trapped in there. That's a great idea. No complaints about that. The third high brake light, no complaints about that either. Great idea. In Canada, a safety thing is that after 1990, all vehicles must have the headlights on all the time unless the handbrake is pulled. I guess it does help get you noticed, especially when you're driving a white car in a light background or a white car with a snowy background. Having reflectors on your car that reflect light back even when they're not turned on is always a great idea, and especially the ones in the rear so you don't run into parked vehicles. Having laminated glass on the front windshield is a great idea. Sure stops you from getting your head going through the windshield and having sharp shards of glass slash your neck at the same time. And the other kind of windows on the car are perfect too, with the kind of glass that shatters under tension. Now this car doesn't have this, but that OnStar system or similar systems like General Motors offers, that tells some operator or some person standing by someplace that your car has been in an accident or you broke down and stranded or whatever, is a great idea too, because certainly you don't always have a cell phone and you're not always in a good enough shape to tell anybody what happened, and at least they can locate your car automatically through GPS and find you. And headrests are a great idea too. You never know when someone's going to plow your ass end and give you whiplash. No complaints about those. And some vehicles even have raised bumps for rear seat headrests. Awesome. Safety lockouts for children so they don't open the door while they're driving that can only be controlled by opening the door by parents from the outside is a great idea too.
So I hope you agree with the things I just mentioned so you can get to the beer store more safely and make it back to alive and make it to David's farm. Awesome.
Or you could end up looking like that.